Hey, everybody. I was waiting for Ed to kick off the
Welcome
show.
to FMTV Nerd Show. As usual, yeah, dude, we're sorry we're so late. We had some technical difficulties. We can hear each other. It's the usual stuff that happens when we do a live show. So,
But the funny
thanks for
thing,
bearing with us those couple of. Mhm.
the funny thing is, Ed, we've got it nailed down every Sunday night for the most part. And Monday, it's all the same equipment, but yet 2 times in a row, we've got problems on your end, on my end. It doesn't matter. There's always
Yeah.
there seems to be something going on Mondays.
It's a conspiracy, if you ask me. A conspiracy.
Anyways, yeah, there we go. I was gonna say if you're watching this, make sure you get in the chat. I know we were late, but hopefully you guys are still hanging in there. I know sometimes you're used to us being late. Oh, actually, a couple weeks ago, we did have a Sunday night snafu as well when I launched the wrong episode.
Oh, you sure did, man. We're just messing up left and right, but we've got a great show for you guys today. We're gonna cover. Well, if you guys have anything you guys want us to talk about, please put it in the chat. Or if you're listening to us on Facebook or Twitter, send us put a message in there, and we'll try to talk about whatever you guys really want to talk about. We try to. Peter's a Star Wars nerd and anything that has to do with Disney, and I kind of know a little bit of and Marvel, of course, because that's Disney now. I'm more onto DC and the MonsterVerse and whoa, and so well, we basically know some stuff. We're not like incredible experts or anything, but we can if we don't know it, we'll make it up.
It's no different than what we do really on our soccer show in that we're just fans of something and we just feel like talking about it, right? It's
Exactly.
I'm no soccer expert. I'm not an X's and O's kind of guy, but I enjoy talking about something I enjoy, and so that's what this is too. Something we just enjoy, and so we figured maybe you guys would too as well.
So I was checking out your shirt, Peter. What's it say there? Oh, it says Marvel. You can't really tell too well, but
No, it's on
it's
the
a
black
Marvel
on
shirt.
black. Yeah, it's a little harder to see, but yeah, no. The funny thing is, so so what? We did 2 shows of this, and my wife said to me last week, just before, I think at the same time that we were filming this last week, she had said before the show, like, "Oh, does this mean now you're gonna have to go out and buy a bunch of nerd shirts? Because I've got plenty
That
of Inter Miami shirts." And I said, well, no, not necessarily. I mean, I've got several. Of course, most of mine are Star Wars. And so, anyways, how great my wife is. She came home that night from going to like Target or something like that with this shirt. So it's like
nice.
she's equipping me for the show.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah,
I wish
yeah.
my wife would do
I
something
was gonna
like
say,
that
how's it
for
going for
me.
you on that side?
Oh yeah, that's probably not going to happen. And she did mention it too. It's funny that your wife mentioned it because mine did too. And she's like, "Oh man," she was on saying, "Oh man, now you're gonna buy those weird T-shirts and stuff,
Yeah.
aren't you?" That's what she said. And I'm like, "Yep." And I used to have, Peter, so many of them that have disappeared throughout the years, you know, because and my wife says she has no idea where they went.
Yeah.
They just disappeared. So she stops me from being the full nerd that I could be.
The nerd that you want to be.
Well, that too.
Yeah. No, my wife is cool with it. She embraces,
Your
she's okay
nerdom.
she's okay with me having a little fun. Like I'm okay with her going to becoming a gym rat. Like she goes to F45 gym like all the time, and she's okay with me doing this kind of stuff. So, anyway,
she's okay with your nerdom, as I was saying.
Yes. So Ed, what are we talking about? All right. So what is that?
I got that from one of the grandkids. I don't know why they bought it for her, but it's a great gag.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, I thought it was really cool. But Peter, let's say hello to some of the people there in the chat room.
All right.
And I want to say hello to of all of you fellow nerds out there. But be sure to leave us a message in the chat so we can give you guys a shout out. And let's start with nerd number one is Judge Dredd the Law, of course. Judge Dredd the Law. There he is.
Yeah,
Sometimes you just got to see a giant ape and lizard slug it. It's a slug. Yeah, hell yeah, dude. And we're going to get to that in a bit.
Yeah, I did a little research on that tonight.
He sure did. He knew some stuff that I didn't. I thought I knew about the Monster Universe. But we'll get to that too. And be sure to, go leave us a message at 786-474-4535 and let us know what you guys are thinking. Baldwin 4 is on here, Peter Brown.
Yeah, it's good to see some of our regulars coming over to this side.
Yeah. They're fellow nerds. I love you guys. Who else? We got Doobster. Man, Doobster's on here.
He's a fan of the show District 9. Still watches and then rewatches that movie. Y'all like that movie? Need a sequel, he says.
I like that. And you know what? They could actually make a show about that because it was pretty interesting. Did you ever see District 9?
I did, and I liked it at the time. I'd have to rewatch it and see if I still enjoy it or not. I watched that. What was that? Like 10 years ago or more? I mean, it's been a while. So,
yeah.
But so I'm not sure. I mean, but yeah, a TV series
cool.
maybe, because now that's where everything's going. Forget about the movies. Everything's going to TV because you can go into deeper storylines, and some of that we're going to talk about with the MonsterVerse coming to TV.
Yeah, well, there you go. You just ruined it, Peter Brown. Oh, by the way, tons of spoilers, guys. So you got to do the spoiler thing down in the bottom, Peter. Spoilers. All
right, well.
See, he's already spoiling things, that Peter Brown, I tell you.
I'm spoiling your stuff. I'm not spoiling anything for anybody else.
Well, yeah, that too. But, there's got to be some people out there that'll be like, oh, man, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But who else we got? Baldwin. I already said Baldwin 4. We got Miami Mac is also in here. Miami Mac.
And I don't know if you mentioned, but I see Guyver's in here as well.
Oh, that's the next one I was going to mention. One World, One Goal also.
Is she?
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, she's kind of nerdy. So, who else we got? And that's it for now, I think. Like I said, guys, if you guys are listening, watching, go ahead and leave us a message. And it's funny because I ran into one of the guys that watches our soccer. Well, he actually listens on the podcast, he was telling me. And he started talking to me about soccer, and I was like, okay. I was like, do I look like I guess I look like a soccer guy. And well, I drive a FedEx truck, and I have a what's it called, a magnet of Inter Miami right behind me. So maybe he saw it, I thought. And but no, it's because he knows us from the show, and he started just talking about the soccer game, and that was cool. And he was thanking us. He thinks he thought Peter Brown, because Peter Brown's got that voice, so he's like, has he done TV before? And I was like, no. Wow. So you got that voice, Peter. You got that thing going.
I just did one commercial for you, which was bad.
Right.
A web commercial type of thing. I did one thing.
and it came out really good. But yeah, dude, imagine that. I forgot to tell you that when I sent you the text. Well, I was working, so I thought that was hilarious that they think Peter's professional.
We have topics to discuss, but people are throwing things out left and right that I've forgotten about that I loved. Judge Dredd the Law, Space Above and Beyond was another great sci-fi from the 90s. I loved that show.
Oh, that was great.
And that show was basically trying to be a remake of like an old show from, I think, the 60s called Combat. But they were basically doing this combat show, but in space.
Right.
I'm dying over here.
Oh boy. Do you have something to drink? There you go. I only have soda pop.
Yeah. Figured I'd have a beer for tonight. So yeah, you guys are throwing out some cool, fun ones that I haven't even thought about in years. Someone else mentioning something about Man in the High Castle. One of the pilots of Space Above and Beyond was a bad guy. Man in the High Castle. It was another good show as well. I think I read the book too.
Yeah, since we're on the sci-fi subject, I'm watching one on Apple TV that's called For All Mankind. I don't know if you guys seen it. It's
Oh.
actually pretty good. It's like a remake of well, not a remake. It's a telling of what if,
Yeah.
if there would have been different presidents, and had we lost the space race, had the Russians gotten
Mm-hmm.
to the moon first, things would have probably been so much different. We would
Mm-hmm.
have funded, the space program a lot more. We probably would have been to Mars by now, and that's what it's
I'm,
basically about.
I'm gonna have to give that show another chance because I like the concept. I watched one episode and I was like, eh.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't
Yeah.
grab me. So I think I'll have
Mm-hmm.
to give it another chance. But
You should. It gets better. It's getting better, especially now that they're going to other planets. So
ah,
there I go. I ruined it for people if you haven't seen it. But
all right.
there it's really cool. I think it's. I'm not gonna say anything else, but I think they're in the 80s right now, and they're already heading to Mars. So I think
Mm.
that's what they think would have happened.
So Ed, where should we start tonight?
All right, Peter. I think, well, since you already started bringing up the MonsterVerse, I kind
Okay.
of had I had it broken down a little bit, but I guess you're gonna do whatever you want. So we're gonna do what Peter wants. He already started with
I
the monsters, and
we
I
just
like
we
monsters.
just
When I
come
was a
up.
kid,
We
I
just
used to love
look. Wait,
Godzilla.
hang on a second. Since when
Hmm.
do any of our shows really have that much of a format? Like we started
Yeah,
out with
you're
an
right.
idea and we never go exactly where. So why are you going to try to send me an outline and expect me to follow it? I mean, when have we ever
Eh,
done that? I tell you
well,
when.
just to give you stuff to talk about.
Well, that I appreciate because I
See,
sometimes do need that because I'll stick with a couple of my things,
I like what
but you
One
you
World
are
One
more.
Go is saying. She's like, yeah, One World One Go is saying that we should have Elon Musk be our sponsor,
Mm,
since we're talking about sci-fi stuff. I guess
all right.
I'd be okay with that. Since he didn't buy Twitter, he could sponsor us.
Yeah.
So okay. Oh,
I'm missing Ed.
there's only me there.
I'm missing Ed. I'm
There's only
missing.
me, and there's like crazy sci-fi lines going there.
I'm producing the
You,
show
you were gonna
as
do something.
I'm producing the show as we talk. So you said you wanted to talk some monsters.
Godzilla. All right, guys. So let me start off before Peter,
Spoil
starts
something
telling us
else.
about all the other projects. Yeah, because he found out some cool stuff that he was telling me today. He was like WhatsApping me all this information. I was like,
While you're trying
what?
to work.
What? But I was working. I was like, I can't believe he found all this cool stuff. I want to read, but I can't. I was working, so I was like, Peter, you're gonna have to do all the talking when we get to that. But guys, Godzilla 3 is coming. It's they're starting the whole concept now. It's supposed to come out in 2023, and I think I sent you a picture, Peter, of the Universe's MonsterVerse. I like how they say that, MonsterVerse instead of Monster Universe. The MonsterVerse like schedule that they have going, except that Godzilla 3 isn't in there for some reason, because I think they just decided Godzilla's so famous, or is it? Is it right there?
So, but if you it's hard to see for our viewers, I'm sure, but this timeline is way outdated. So,
Right. It's
it's
uh-huh.
obviously something they planned on, and maybe COVID had something to do with it, or maybe plans changed. Because okay, we got Godzilla versus Kong. We never got Rodan. We never got Kong
Right.
returns, and Mothra would still be
Kong
coming.
returns.
So this is
Mothra.
this
Yeah.
is obviously not still up to date, but it gives you at least an idea of where
Of what's
Warner
coming.
Brothers and where Legendary wants to take it, where their mind is. Now, obviously, these kind of things, since it didn't happen as on schedule, there, obviously things can change, a lot. You
Well,
look at like
well, yeah.
space.
Obviously, right now we've got Godzilla 3 coming already, so they're starting to do that. It's supposed to come out next year, so they're working on it. The picture that's there is supposed to be the monster. I don't think it's got a name yet, unless one of you guys are incredibly geeky and you know all the kaiju's or something. That's what they call them, Peter. By the way,
Mm-hmm.
it's the
Mm-hmm.
kaiju's or
Mm-hmm.
something.
And look,
For,
I
for all you
yeah,
nerds.
I saw
Hmm.
Pacific Rim. I know what a kaiju is.
Oh, Oh, hey, but that's another thing. Weren't they going to try to unite Pacific Rim with the Monster
Well,
Universe or
that's what's.
MonsterVerse? I'm
I'm
sorry.
trying to find the chat. That's what somebody in the chat was actually saying, that they would love to see that. I'm not sure if it was Judge Dredd or who it was, but somebody was saying that they'd like to see that happen. So
There was some talk. I've seen a couple of videos where people were talking that there is some conversation that that might happen. If it does, dude, that's gonna be like, all the little kids are gonna be going crazy, and us older kids are gonna be going crazy because there's gonna be so much more monsters and
so
kaiju's and stuff like that. So
Pacific Rim, I thought was a great movie. I saw someone else didn't like it. I loved Pacific Rim. I didn't care for Pacific Rim 2. That was just okay. But what's going on in the chat? Something about KI Jews? What Kai? Oh, Kaijus.
Kai,
We're not saying nothing negative about
there,
anybody. It's
there you
just
go.
what they're called.
Judge Dredd's got it. That's how you spell it. It's kaiju's.
Yeah,
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 that's the way he
exactly.
spells it right there.
This is how you spell it, and you say it the way I said it. But But yeah, I mean, to be honest, Ed, before this morning, when you chatted some of this stuff, I did not know that there was going to be a monster universe. I wasn't aware. I knew that, they made the Godzilla and they made the Kong and they made the Godzilla versus Kong. I knew they did that, and obviously they might want to continue it. I didn't know that they were calling this Monster Universe, because it makes me think of also what
MonsterVerse.
Universal wanted to do with the classic monsters. They wanted to do the Mummy and Dracula and make some sort of monster universe there. But that horrible Tom Cruise mummy came out, and that killed the entire concept. So it's like everybody wants to do...
There was a Tom Cruise mummy?
Yeah. Wasn't the Mummy? Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I missed that one. Well, it must have been so bad that I didn't even hear about it.
It was bad, but and I remember going to Universal Studios, going on the Mummy ride, which is based off of the Brendan Fraser Mummy, and they had like movie posters all over the exit of that ride for the new Mummy with Tom Cruise. Then there was rumors that they would change over the ride, the theming of the ride, to match the Tom Cruise movie, but it bombed, and so that kind of killed off that monster universe. And when I think monster universe, I think of that. I don't think of this monster universe that we're talking about here. This definitely sounds, to me, I mean, the other one sounded cool too, but I'm not so much into horror. This one definitely sounds cool to me. So what do you know, Ed, about Godzilla 3? I'm asking you. What do you know about it?
So, Peter, it's coming out in 2023.
Do we know? And is this
Well,
the actual?
I'm telling you, it's coming out in 2000.
Uh-oh.
Yes, I believe that monster is Behemoth. But yeah, there's supposed to be some different monster that's gonna terrorize the world, and Godzilla's gonna take care of that vestige.
All right.
So it's in process right now, and so that'd be kind of interesting. But what's even more interesting is all the information that you came up with, Peter.
Yeah, and everybody, there seems to be a slight delay with me and Ed, so that's why I'm stepping on your lines a lot, Ed, and you're breaking up a little bit here and there, so just bear with us. But yeah, so as I was researching this MonsterVerse, I found out that there's 2 shows coming up, and these are TV shows. So there's going to be a King Kong show on Netflix. It's going to be an anime show. It's called Skull Island, and they think that's going to come out 2023, maybe 2024, because it's currently in production. They've got a couple still shots out there. I didn't download one of them. A couple of shots out there for to give you an idea of what it might look like, but it's anime, and so they don't know where that's going to take place. If it's like after Kong vs. Godzilla, or if it's like sometime in the past, like in the 30s or 40s. Nobody's really sure about that one. But then I also found out, and this one I'm more excited about, because I don't care so much about about the anime thing. I mean, maybe I'll check it out, but I've never been a huge fan of anime. But the one that's got me more interested is the Godzilla TV series on Apple TV Plus. And that one,
not only do you get soccer,
yes,
not only going to get MLS soccer on there, but you're going to get Godzilla. And it's not going to be animation. It's going to be the actual monster.
Yeah, no, this is live action. And so the story so far, the only thing we know about it really is they haven't told much about it. What we know is it's going to take place after Kong vs. Godzilla, or Godzilla vs. Kong, whichever came first. It's going to come out, and it's going to be in the MonsterVerse. It is like the continuation of this MonsterVerse that they created, and it's going to have a big part of it is going to be this organization that was created in one of those movies. What was the name of the organization? Medusa?
Oh, it's something like that.
It started with an M.
Come on, guys, in the chat. You guys are nerds. You guys probably remember what the agency was called. Darn tootin'. Yeah, Fiddlesticks. I can't remember the name of it.
They were the bad guys.
Yeah. The one where what's his name? The Lannister guy was. He was one of them. The Lannister guy. Nobody in the chat knows yet.
There's a delay.
Ken Watanabe. Oh man, they're just going crazy about Godzilla, man. See, I told you the people like monsters, Peter.
Yeah.
Not the mummies and stuff. Even though those are kind of cool too. But
yeah.
Well,
it's
God, Monarch. See,
Monarch.
Baldwin Four Nose. Monarch.
There you go. I was searching for it. Yes, Monarch, and Judge Dredd both got it. Good, because it's not good show me sitting over here Googling. But so they're going to be the big bad guy on that one, and it's going to have some young people in it. So from what I understand, it's basically going to follow one family and the effects that the world kind of getting destroyed because these monsters fighting, how their lives are affected. And so Apple TV Plus, Apple TV, I don't love everything they do. I think they don't have enough good programming for the money that Apple has. And Apple talked a big game about creating this service. People talked about it rivaling Netflix and all that kind of stuff. And they just don't put out enough content that I want to see. But having said that, you can't say anything bad about the quality of the content. They spend money on this stuff, and it all looks great. Whether it's interesting or not, it's a whole nother story. But so, that excites me. The fact that this might look really, really good for a TV series. And so, with Apple TV Plus, you figure maybe around 10 episodes or something like that. Again, no date, so we don't know when this is going to happen. But it's kind of cool to know that it's coming.
Wow, that's going to be great. And, some of the movies that was up in that list, I would have wanted to see, Rodan. He came out of a volcano. That would be kind of cool to watch his origin story. Mothra also. I don't know if they're going to have the little girls that sing. Remember, Mothra, Mothra? They had that little Mothra song going.
I don't remember the song, but I do remember watching some of the really, really old ones. I was a big fan talking about those kind of shows back in the day. So we're talking about back in the 70s and maybe early 80s when I was a kid watching. I used to watch a lot of what was it? Ultraman, I think. It's in that same vein.
Oh.
It was in that same vein. He was a big robot guy that would fight monsters and stuff like that. But it's all that Japanese.
Gamera. I used to love Gamera.
Yeah. All that Japanese TV shows or movies that were horrible, but they were available and watched them.
They were entertaining. As children's, we loved it. But like I said, Gamera was also one of my favorites. I used to love that, it was basically a knockoff of Godzilla and all that.
FS Broggs is saying, shout out, Ed. Saw you on Inter Miami promo for the last game. You were on a promo, Ed. Because you ended up on the big screen.
Look at that.
You ended up on the big screen.
I did. That was pretty cool. My grandkid did too. She started dancing and stuff, and they showed her, so that was pretty cool. She had her Southern Legion 305 shirt going, so that
Nice.
was pretty cute.
Nice.
But thanks guys. Yeah, if you guys see us out there, be sure to come up to us. We'll take a picture, and that we're gonna do that in the soccer show. We're gonna put up pictures of you guys with us. So
The funny thing is that
that'd
is
be
you
that'd
keep
be cool.
asking if I took a picture with people that I met, and no, but here's the thing. Nobody's asked to take a picture of me. So doesn't it, don't they need, they have to be the ones asking, not me saying, hey, by the way.
No, I'll do it. I'll take pictures with people, and
No, actually, it
I'll
happened.
put them on the show.
It happened once where they asked me, but for the most part, no, they just want to
Mhm.
hang out. They just want to hang out.
Yeah.
But all right. Anything else on the monsters, Ed? Because I mean, I think I'm not. Like you know what? I actually want to rewatch the Kong of Godzilla vs Kong. I mean, it was on HBO Max. I did watch it. If I remember correctly, that's the movie that launched HBO Max. They used that movie to help launch the application, I think. And I watched it at that time. I haven't watched it again. But Pacific Rim, I think, was mentioned. That one I watch a lot. I'll put that movie on like late at night. When I'm trying to go to sleep or something, I'll watch about 15 minutes of it and then I'll pass out, and then the next time I'll watch another 15 minutes of it a little bit later or something like that. But
wow, man, you're a total nerd, Peter. Total nerd.
and I need the TV to fall asleep, so it's the combination. And you could say, oh, you fell asleep watching it because it must be boring. No, it's just because I've seen it 1,000 times. So I know what's
Right,
going to
right.
happen. So.
I used to do that with Game of Thrones too. I'd put it on, somebody's head would get chopped off, and that would make me go to sleep.
Oh, so something interesting also. You said Game of Thrones, and it made me remember. The guy that's directing 2 of the episodes of this Godzilla TV series, it was the showrunner for WandaVision, and he also directed and I think wrote a couple of, or at least directed, some Game of Thrones episodes. So this guy that I think it was a Shackman or something like that. So they got good people behind the show.
Awesome.
Oh,
awesome. That's
Baldwin
cool.
saying monster movies need to be watched in a theater. I would normally agree with you. Big movies should be watched in a theater, but if I remember correctly, Godzilla vs Kong premiered during COVID, or was it before COVID? I don't know. I can't remember. When was it? Was it
during
before
COVID.
COVID or after? When did HBO Max?
I didn't go to the
launch?
theater.
I saw it on
I'm not
HBO
sure.
Max. So yeah, I didn't see it in theaters. I don't remember exactly, but yes, I would normally agree with you. The bigger budget movies, definitely. That's why, like, I saw Thor in the theater. It's like a big budget movie with big explosions. You're going to get the best effects on the big screen with the big sound. My large TV. If I'm trying to remember, a 75-inch TV. It's nice and all that, but it's not a TV the size of
Huge
gigantic theater
movie
either.
theater type
yeah,
thing.
Right. Although that's next, right? Why don't you know what we need to have is your entire living room wall, right? Should be a screen. Why can't we have that?
Wow. It'd be kind of hard because you'd be like missing stuff. You'd be like, wait, oh look, oh I missed something, and it'd be too big unless you have a really huge living room where you can be like way back there, and but I don't know about.
You've been in my house. My living room's not that big.
Right. So you'd have a problem because you'd be like, you won't be able to see the whole thing.
All right.
But
okay, so
yeah, guys.
Baldwin is saying it did come out during COVID. Just saying giant monster movies like that and Pacific Rim on a giant screen and effects. Yeah, agreed.
Well, I'm hoping that they do come to an agreement where they unify Pacific Rim and hopefully Gamera and all these kaiju monsters, so that we can. Mm-hmm.
That's a problem though, because what ends up being the problem is different competing movie studios. If I'm not wrong, I think Pacific Rim is a Universal movie, and these Godzilla movies are Warner Brothers movies. That's a problem. It's very rare that these companies come together. So
okay. They could be, the Warner Brothers could be tied in with like DC, right?
Yeah.
Aren't they
you want to see Superman fight Godzilla? Let's do it.
There you go.
Let's
There
do
you
it.
go. Superman versus Godzilla.
You know, people aren't
How you
all
guys
that.
like that
you,
apple? How you
you
like
always,
them apples?
I always hear that people complain that Superman is just kind of boring in some ways. You know, he's not as interesting as, say, Batman, you know, because, you know, he doesn't have all the issues and things like that. Well, Godzilla could complicate things a little, right?
Oh, he sure can. He's a
Mothra could
nuclear,
complicate.
monster. He could totally mess him up. And he's huge, incredibly strong. You know.
I like it. Now, the only thing is, I guess the MonsterVerse has to get a little bit bigger for them to pull that trigger, and maybe you know, if a couple more DC movies bomb, they'll be looking for anything to revive the franchise. Because, you know, the DC movies don't do nearly as well as Marvel, so.
Right? Well, you're right.
Although
you're right.
I enjoy them.
Right.
I enjoy most of them, but they're still not as popular.
Right. And since you brought up Marvel, let's talk about a little bit about that. You know, they're bringing out the Wakanda Forever. You can put up the picture. I think that should be an interesting movie. Eventually, the picture will come up, guys. Okay. But the interesting thing about Black Panther, look at that, nice. Look who that evil guy is right there. That's Dr. Doom, dude.
Dr. Doom is going to be in the new Black Panther. I did not know that until I saw this picture.
Yes, he is.
That is exciting.
Now, there's also going to be another character in there that's going to create trouble for Black Panther in Wakanda, and that is Namor. Peter Brown.
Okay.
You know who Namor is, right?
Yes, he's their version of Aquaman, right?
There you go. He's the king of Atlantis, or the leader of Atlantis, and what's probably going to happen is that Dr. Doom. This is, you know, fan theory here, because we don't know all the information.
This whole thing is just the next step in introducing the Fantastic Four.
Of course.
Clearly. Okay, go ahead.
Because Dr. Doom is a character from the Fantastic Four.
Right.
So it's possible that the Fantastic Four might be involved or mentioned or something, because
mentioned
at least. There's going to be something that's going to bring them up. And well, the thing is, I think what's going to happen is that Dr. Doom is going to try to obtain some of that vibranium. I think it is vibranium.
Yeah.
The metal that they use.
It is.
That they have a lot of in Wakanda. And he's going to create a conflict between Atlantis and Wakanda, which means Namor versus Black Panther. Dude, it's going to go crazy. I think it's going to be an incredible movie. We don't know the exact subject, but that's from what I've read. It looks like that, there's going to be some manipulating going on, and whoa, we just changed sides right there. And
I'm producing on the spot, Ed. I'm producing on the spot.
Well, anyways, Peter. So
it looks better over here.
I think it sure does, man. I like it, because we're not in Dr. Doom's face. Right. So, but what are your thoughts, man? I mean, this is pretty big. I can't wait.
But I have bigger questions. I think the bigger question is, who's wearing the Black Panther suit? Is it his sister, like a lot of people think? That clearly does not look like I can't say clearly. To me, that does not look like a woman's physique.
It doesn't look like it doesn't look like her.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect her to, she could be muscular, but I would expect her to just have, different figure.
You wanted to say curves, different curves.
Maybe because I did this.
I think. But yeah, so and another thing that's going to happen, and it's been happening. I haven't seen Miss Marvel. Peter has seen it, and he's waiting on me to watch it so that we can talk a little bit about it. But they're introducing. Go ahead, Peter. I know you want to be the one saying it. Mm-hmm.
No, it's about Miss Marvel. No, I don't know what you're talking about. Miss Marvel.
Oh, okay. Cool.
A lot of people haven't watched it, and that, I think we could do an entire show, or not an entire show, but a segment on just why is it not connecting with people. I watched it. It was okay, but anyways, we could talk about that another time.
Well, yeah, I haven't. I think I watched the one episode, and it just seemed too kiddie for me.
It didn't connect with you, and so I'm
You know.
curious. There's theories out there.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Yeah. It's yeah. She's maybe too young, and that just kind of like threw me off. It's more, I think, more oriented to a younger audience. Yet there's some subjects that I think are a little, adult.
Yeah, I agree.
One of the things that they have mentioned a lot is that they're starting to introduce the mutants are being
Well,
mentioned. So
in
that's another thing that's coming.
in the last episode of Miss Marvel, I'm not going to give away the show because it's funny. We'll spoil it for our viewers, but we don't want to spoil it for each other. Mutant was mentioned. The term mutant or mutation, I think was used. I think is the word mutation, but that's key because before Disney bought 20th Century Studios and got the rights back for the X-Men, they weren't allowed to use the word mutant or mutate or anything like that. If you remember, they would mention the heroes as, instead of saying mutant, they would say, I forgot, something powered, or they had some other terminology that especially like on the Shield TV show, they had some other
Right.
term. I forgot exactly.
Metahuman, I think. They're not metahuman?
Yeah, maybe it was that.
Well, I think that's something like that.
It was something
Something like that. If you guys know, put it in the chat.
But they just were not allowed to use that
Or
word.
I think metahuman they used for DC or something. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But we get the point. And they did drop that term at the end of Miss Marvel, and when they did, I was like, oh, they're, because that's it. They're at this point, they're just sprinkling it in. So you're thinking maybe that here on Black Panther there might be some more drops.
Well, Namor, I think, is supposed to be a mutant.
Okay, but
so I don't know if that makes the whole Atlantis, all of them, mutants or something. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Namor is supposed to be a mutant. So, yeah, there's definitely going to be some talk. Some people. Namor's actually an older character than Aquaman. Oh, look at that! Yeah. Aquaman is the copy.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that Baldwin 4.
Yeah, bringing out the nerd.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of they copied each other. DC, copies them, and they copied DC, and
yeah. Judge Dredd hasn't liked how Dr. Doom has been portrayed, so he's interested to see how it's going to be portrayed now. But when is this movie supposed to be coming out, Ed?
Oh man, I had the info, but gosh, I put it in the one of the messages. I don't know if I sent it to you or somebody else, but it's coming up, Peter. I think it's coming up next year.
Well, obviously, it's coming up.
Or the end of this year. Mm-hmm. I think it's the end of the year. I think it's going to be at the end of the year. So.
Yeah,
and Peter, of course, is looking
at
it up.
You sent me a video about Easter eggs and breaking it down, but I did not watch it.
Yeah, but I think they said the date in there or something.
Yeah, maybe in the video.
Don't remember.
Yeah, but so yeah, it's
so yeah, guys.
Be exciting.
Yeah, you guys excited? Let us know in the chat, or call us, guys. You guys could also call us. Nobody's called us yet. I guess you guys are a little bashful when it comes to the whole comic thing, and monsters and all that. But if not, if you guys aren't, let's see. I have to admit, I hated Thor: Love and Thunder. Richard Greenberg saying.
Oh, he's in here as well? I haven't seen this comment yet.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, a lot of people not liking the Thor, feeling it's too silly. And I didn't read the article, but I did read a headline where Taika, oh God, I knew I was going to screw. I had his name down last week. Waititi. He's defending it. He's having to come out and defend it a little bit, and that's never good when you're a director and you have to start defending your movie, kind of like what Rian Johnson had to do with the Last Jedi in the Star Wars franchise. He had to start defending his movie, and once Rian Johnson was given another trilogy to work on, and then once he has to start defending his Star Wars movie, next thing you know, his trilogy disappears. So he's not doing it anymore because he started having to defend, and when they realize the fans aren't cool with it, But Taika is supposed to be doing the next Star Wars movie, and so that'll be interesting as well. We talked a little bit about that last week, but all right. So so we got Black Panther. What's next, Ed? What are we talking about next?
Peter Brown. This is probably one of the things I'm really good at, and it's there's you're totally a Star Wars fan. I'm a big Star Trek fan, and actually, you watched this show before. If you finished watching it before I did, I had to catch up to you.
Yes, and hang in there. What show are we talking about, Ed?
All right, Peter. We are talking about the latest Star Trek show which is Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
All right. I was just getting you to fill time so I could do this.
Gotcha, and it's in there now, so that's good.
Yeah.
So Strange New Worlds, guys. Peter, you changed my background to Football Miami TV. If you didn't notice.
No, I did not notice.
So.
It's probably,
look at that.
It's been like
the soccer
probably.
Show thing, but it's all good.
It's
all good. It's the same. We do the same thing. We do that stuff too. So Strange New Worlds, Peter Brown, is about Captain Pike. And if you guys don't know who Captain Pike is, he was the guy that was before James Tiberius Kirk. He was the show was supposed to be about him.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the pilot didn't do too well, and they changed it to Kirk, and Kirk was the one that got the gig. So this is a whole new take on Pike, and I think the actor that does Pike is spot on. He's
great.
Very, very confident. He's got a cool look to him, that just makes you want to watch that. And Spock is also the guy that's doing Spock is pretty accurate as well.
Yeah, I think they did a great job casting the show. So this show actually was kind of a bit of a spin-off from the Star Trek Discovery series. This is all on Paramount Plus. So if you're not getting Paramount Plus, this is why I got Paramount Plus. Advantage was that I also get some Brazilian soccer and some Argentinian soccer. But the reason I got Paramount Plus was because I wanted to watch the Star Trek stuff. And so it started off with Star Trek Discovery, which I think is just okay. I'm not loving it. But the best thing they did in their season 2 was they introduced these characters, and it went so well that they decided to spin it off into its own show. And the interesting thing with this show was that all the newer Star Trek shows, and heck, for the most part, most shows these days, current shows, are now pretty much one story for your entire season, right? And so that's not the way shows used to be, right? They used to every week you had a new adventure, and one week didn't necessarily have anything to do with the next week. There were some common story threads going throughout the season, but for the most part, each episode was its own thing. And that's the case with Strange New Worlds. And when they first mentioned that, I was like, I don't know. I like the one storyline. I like delving into it. But it has been really, really cool because they've gotten to have a little more fun with this show. There's been one or two episodes that I could care less about. There was one where they were in a storybook from the Doctor's Daughter, and I thought that was the worst episode I think I've ever seen. It was awful, but I think the series has been really, really good, and it just wrapped up season finale. And what did you think of the season finale? Because you already said you liked the show, but what about specifically the season finale?
Oh yeah. I just think it sets it up for anytime, and big spoiler alert, guys. Anytime that Star Trek in the other shows like Deep Space Nine, they had Dominion War. In the Enterprise, they had the war against the Xindi. When they start doing that to the shows, I think it adds a whole different, it makes it much more interesting. Unfortunately, pretend war is something that attracts us. The real war, being a war veteran myself, is not that fun. But when it's pretend, it's kind of cool. And so, I really know there's going to be a lot of different, it's a lot of different things that are going to develop from wars. The people, famine, and they're gonna. I'm sure there's gonna be times when they're gonna have to like try to save people from a certain planet.
Hang on though.
Sorry.
I
Go
think
ahead.
you're gone way too far. I think you're thinking that next season they're gonna go into this Romulan Starfleet war, right?
Yep, that's what I think.
But that's where you're wrong. And this is where you get real nerdy, is when you start nerding out about the little smallest details, right? So,
well, because we really don't know. I'm just throwing my imagination out there.
Okay, I'm telling you why you're wrong is because I actually was a little confused with the show myself and had to do a little bit of research. So this episode was basically a remake of an original series episode called Balance of Terror. And it was interesting in that...
Oh, yeah, I think Kirk was in it, yeah.
Yes, and the interesting thing was in Balance of Terror and this episode, which I forget the name of this episode, a lot of it was word for word, the same script. The difference being they swapped out Pike for Captain Kirk and a lot of it. And there was a few differences.
Peter.
So here,
now you made me realize could be an alternate universe.
It 100% was. Here's what, because remember, okay, so again, deep spoilers here. In this show, Captain Pike meets a Klingon, like priest kind of guy, and sees his future. I think this is the first episode. And he sees his future by touching these like crystals. I want to call them a Kyber crystal because I'm a Star Wars fan, but it's not a Kyber crystal. Touches some crystal. And it shows his future. And he sees that his future is going to be in the wheelchair, and like we saw in the very first original series episode of The Cage. The very first Star Trek episode is called The Cage. Yeah. And you see Pike in this shriveled up chair, just old man kind of run, still alive by computers, stuff like that. And so he saw that future when he touched this crystal. And then in this episode, you saw when he's talking to this little boy and the boy says something to him, he realizes, wait a minute, that boy is also one of the people that die at the time that my accident happens where I end up in this chair. And he now wants to, he goes to and he starts to think about writing something to say that, to change the trajectory.
The future.
Right, to change the future. Right. So this whole episode, and if you remember, Pike was visited by a different version of Pike. Pike was visited.
Oh, that uniform. Ooh, man, you got the picture going.
That uniform, how cool is that uniform? That was like from the original Star Trek motion picture. So the original Star Trek movie with Kirk and all that, that's the uniform they were wearing. And so he comes back.
Very cool.
He comes back and he basically tells him to touch the crystal again. And that's when he sees this whole Romulan war. He sees all these things that happen. He sees, instead of himself ending up in the chair, he sees that it's Spock that gets all burned up, and so that he traded his life for somebody else's. And then he also learns, talking to this is like Admiral Pike, talking to Admiral Pike, he learns that millions of people also die in this war. So all of this happened solely because he wrote a letter to warn the boy. And so that's why at the end of the episode, he deletes that letter. And that Romulan war, Ed, never happens. So the war that you want to see, it's not happening. However cool that would be, it's not happening.
Well, wait a second. All right.
The cliffhanger.
Gosh darn it! This is a alternate universe. I didn't think about it, but But
it wasn't so much an alternate universe. It kind of is, but it was more so just he was shown what his future would be if he tried to change it, right? So an alternate universe of like, you know, if you turn left instead of right, your life changes. And I was a little confused too. I had to think about it and also read a couple things and go, oh yeah, that was it. And so the cliffhanger, really the only cliffhanger, and it's a minor cliffhanger, is the fact that his number one gets arrested for being augmented human. Like she's got augmentations that are illegal. So she gets arrested by
Number
Pike's
one. Yeah.
girlfriend, and that's really the cliffhanger. Which
And
is
you know
cool.
she's actually called Number One. You know she's actually called Number One.
I think in
That's
the
her
show
actual name. Yeah.
Yeah, but
He calls her that. But
her last name, if I remember correctly, is Un, like UN, something like that.
Yeah.
But it's Rebecca Romaine Stamos, if you remember. She was also in.
Yeah, dude.
She was in the original X-Men movies as
She was the
blue chick.
Yeah, the one that transforms. Gosh, I can't. We forget everything. I think we're getting old.
It's age, Ed. It's age.
Yeah.
But how cool is this?
Oh man, so
right?
look. No, it is really cool. When I saw that, I was like, holy moly, that's going way back. But yeah, I think you're right, man. I was trying to think about the version. I think I was getting confused with I think was Archer, the one that was involved. Now I'm talking about Enterprise where the Romulan War started.
Yeah.
So man.
And that was a great show.
So I am.
That was a great show that did not get its fair shake. And that was basically because at that time I think people were just Star Trek fatigued. It was one of the better Star Trek shows. But because people were tired at that point of Star Trek TV, it was just like one series too many. And I mean, like Enterprise was better than Voyager, but Voyager got the full 7 years, whereas Enterprise got like 3 or 4, something like that.
And look, Baldwin said Mystique. See, Baldwin's awesome, man. He's a nerd just like we are,
all right.
but better because he remembers stuff.
I'm not, for whatever reason, my app is not updating any of the chats, so I'm not seeing any new chats. So sorry.
But yeah, so that's going to be interesting how it develops. With the way that the season finale kind of like she gets arrested because and there's. Yeah, I'm just kind of confused now because
you're gonna have to watch it
now
again. You're gonna have to watch. You know what I did?
Yeah, because
I watched the last 15 minutes again, just to like clear my mind.
Oh, I'm gonna have to do that because now that you're saying that, I'm like, oh man, Peter Brown was right.
Right.
Fiddlesticks.
Yeah.
So, wow.
And we totally I totally 100% spoiled that last episode. But if you haven't watched the series, by the time you get to the finale, you'll forget what I said. So go and enjoy it anyways. It's a good show. And what do you have on that on Paramount Plus? I think you have 3 seasons of Discovery, which I think the first one was good, second one was okay, third one was meh. But it's just it's
gone down. Discovery I thought it was interesting, but I never really got it. The main character just doesn't do it for me. She's supposed to be like Spock's half sister or something, and it just if you guys can check it out, think about it, for yourself. They do travel in time if you haven't seen it, but I'm ruining for people.
But I think that was my biggest problem with that show is they have this jump drive, and it can they could jump in different parts of the universe in a split second. But this series takes place before Enterprise. But yet their ship is so much more advanced. Now they kind of explain it, I guess, because they eventually jump to the future, and then that ship is kind of forgotten because, it's in the future or whatever. But I don't know. I'm just like, it's too advanced of a ship for something that's supposed to have taken place before Captain Kirk, So I think like with Strange New Worlds, I think they
and it's technology that they never.
Yeah, I think with Strange New Worlds,
I was going to say it was technology that they're never going to use again.
Right. We got a delay, Ed.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, but I think, like I was saying, I think Strange New Universe, I think with that they found that nice balance of modernizing the look of it, but still maintaining the retro feel. They found that nice balance, I think.
Yeah. You got a good point there. So I think we basically covered everything. I like that the chat they're talking about, all the other Star Trek shows. They're talking about Voyager. So I think that's pretty interesting. If you guys want to talk more about Star Trek, I'm all for it. I actually saw most of them.
I saw all of them. Yeah.
So I'm pretty well informed, I guess, when it comes to Star Trek.
I hate the fact
look at that thing.
I hate the fact that my chat.
Well, One World Won't Go is talking about time travel. One time travel show is Doctor Who and Outlander.
I've never seen Outlander because isn't that kind of like a romantic kind of time travel show? Not for me. But Doctor Who I watch. And Doctor Who, they're supposed to be introducing a new Doctor soon. So they change it every once in a while. It's supposed to have a new one.
I've watched Doctor Who on and off, but
I dig it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The Brits know what they're doing.
David Tennant was my favorite Doctor. He was from like 10 years ago, maybe less, maybe a little bit less than 10 years ago, but he was my favorite Doctor. I like him. He also was in some Marvel stuff as the purple guy. I forgot. I don't know. In one of those
the
Netflix
purple guy,
series.
and right. Well, if you guys remember, go ahead and put it in the chat room. But I think we basically covered everything we were going to cover today. If you guys have any suggestions and ideas of what we should talk about, we generally try to talk about the stuff that's updated, the more the movies that are coming out, or the movies that that have already come out, and we're going to talk about them and ruin it for you guys if we've seen them before you have. So. And TV shows, we talk about TV shows, and eventually I think we're going to start talking about the comic books. I used to be more of a comic book nerd. I used to have a nice collection of comics, and so I've read through a lot. I had a lot of Flash, a lot of Superman. I had mostly DC stuff, Batman. Somebody with issues right there. That's a dude. Batman's got some issues, man.
Yeah.
Talk about being a drama queen. But I think that's it, Peter Brown.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. It was a lot of fun. I'm sorry that we had some technical difficulties today, and apparently I'm still having a few with the chat. But thank you everybody for playing along with us. It was a lot of fun. It's good to see that a lot of our soccer nerds are also, other kinds of nerds. Oh, we're showing things. All right. We'll finish it off with yours. Isn't as cool as this, Ed.
Oh man, that is really cool.
Look how cool that is.
Oh, that's you're just evil.
I mean, look how cute that face is, man.
That is evil. Wait, I'm gonna stab you with my. No, we're just bringing out all the stuff now.
I got tons of those little pop characters. Anyways, everybody, we're gonna play with our toys, and we will see you next week. Thanks everybody for watching, and please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on Sunday for